Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about tech leads. So let's get into it. So the question in question was, Frederick, as a new tech lead in our organization, is it okay to seek your manager's feedback on technical decisions involving cross-functional teams, or would it make it look like you aren't ready for the role? Depends on the sort of feedback that you're looking for. Usually it's a good thing if you can ask for clarification on, what are the goals of the company, trying to sort of orientate yourself. Like I usually call it the inventory. That's the first thing you should always do when you're in a new environment. Try to figure out what are your responsibilities, where's the code at, who are your stakeholders, which people are we talking about, like who makes up your sphere of influence, if that makes sense. That's the first thing, and then trying to figure out what the values of all of these people, like what are you trying to achieve. And so when you talk to your manager, the best way to get feedback, which is usually fairly appreciated, is that you present your ideas of what you want to do and explain why you think that these things are going to make a difference and what type of difference that's going to make, and see if your managers agrees with that, yeah, this is the direction we want to move. The thing that makes you look incompetent has less to do with asking for feedback, especially if you do it early on. The thing that makes you look incompetent is if you make technical decisions and you don't actually meet the expectations of whoever you're dealing with. That's the thing that's going to kill you. Because the quickest way to get fired as a tech lead has to do with, is the team happy with, do you meet the expectations of your stakeholders? Do you actually run the team in an efficient way? Is the team productive? Do you respond? Do you understand how to talk to the stakeholders? Are you a good representative of the values that is required within the role that you have towards everybody around you? That's the most important thing. And in some teams that means that you should be the guy or girl who knows everything about the system. In some teams it's more about being able to talk to stakeholders and actually being able to set expectations and define stories, etc., and be a good mediator between yourself and the team. In many cases, both. In some cases it's you basically being able to set up the entire architecture and being able to in practice do all the coding or run the entire show by yourself. It really comes down to what do they need from you. And so when you involve your manager, it's usually good for you to have a bit of a conversation, not just with your manager, but with all your stakeholders. And I will even go as far as to say that you should have that conversation with your teammates as well. You have to have some idea, some vision, some thoughts on what you're trying to achieve based on the input of everybody else. Nobody's going to hand you a specification saying, yeah, we want you to reach these metrics within this time frame or something like that. Usually they have specific products that they want to deliver on, and sometimes it's so fluffy, they go, yeah, we just have a bunch of problems with legacy code and so forth, but at the same time we need to, we need to meet these metrics at the same time. So you can't be, this is why this is a complicated role. You can't just say, all right, you only care about the tech stuff, so therefore we're only going to focus on, I don't know, classic one which gets you fired like that is that they have a bunch of deadlines that they want to meet, and then you implement, I don't know, functional programming for everything, and you force everybody to do functional programming and everybody hates it and everything slows down and there's a bunch of complaints, and then you get fired because you're incompetent basically. A tech lead has to be more mature than that. You, as I said, have to understand that when you get to this point, your main goal is to deliver on the expectations. That's it. And no one in, your manager does not give a fuck usually about if you use functional programming, object-oriented programming, etc. There is an ecosystem that you are now in, and your first priority should be to make sure that you understand that ecosystem and understand how you within this ecosystem can meet these expectations that you are dealing with. And so when you have identified what you need to achieve, that's when you present your ideas or your vision, or suggest how we can improve things, how we can do things, and you ask. Usually it's better for you to ask for early feedback. That's not going to make you look bad. It's actually going to make you look like a really competent person. As I said, the feedback is not the thing. It's the nature of how well you know your shit that's going to determine everything. Because if you can never, like, if you don't make any decisions, or you're unsure how to do anything, or everything's always a problem, and so forth, that's the thing that kills you. That's definitely the thing that's gonna have more of an impact than, if you're asking your manager about whether if like your thoughts on how to achieve something is a good idea or not. Usually they have a lot to say if you just frame it as if we're going to make these and these sorts of investment, or we're going to bet on this tool or that tool and so forth, and the reason being because it's going to help us with A, B, and C, etc., etc. But asking a manager about, should we use Angular, or should we use React, should we use Java or C# when they don't know anything like that, yeah, that's probably not a good idea. So what I want you to take away from this is that yes, it's okay to ask for feedback on technical decisions or any plans or ideas that you have for implementing things. It really comes down to, as I said, figuring out what are the expectations of the stakeholders that you're dealing with, and then making a holistic assessment of what you actually need to do to deliver on those goals, or those whatever values that you're dealing with, right? Because the thing that kills you as a tech lead, the thing that makes you look like you're not ready for this role, is when you make immature decisions. That's worse than making technical decisions and asking for feedback on them. Or, as I said, an immature decision is that you basically just go in and say, we're going to do this thing. If that doesn't work out for you, you're screwed, because it's all on you. Running a team or being a tech lead is much more efficient if you have an equal part of technical skills and social skills, because when you have the social skills, you understand that it's not just about you now, it's about you as a person making, as I said, the moves necessary, moving things around so that you streamline your delivery process, you make sure that you meet the goals of whatever the company is trying to achieve, etc., etc. That's going to make people happy. But whether or not you use framework A or framework B, that's fucking up to you. Right? Or it usually is. It's like these are the details, these are the micro of how you achieve those goals. The macro is the thing that it looks very professional if you ask for feedback on it, because that has to do with strategy and goals. Very small scale decisions, you should already know how to do that efficiently if you have the tech lead role. Some cases that's not the case, because there's a lot of junior-ish profiles who get to be tech leads very quickly on, and in those sorts of situations it's really down to, as I said, the same thing. Getting technical feedback, great, absolutely, as long as the feedback you're asking for is whether or not your suggestion and the goals that you are aiming for are in line with what the company wants to achieve. It's practically never a good idea to ask your manager about library A or library B, etc., etc., because they sort of hired you to know what tech to use to achieve those bigger goals. Have a great day.